stress at work, at home, to have better sleep and better decision making. But since today's event is open for all, maybe some of the people who are joining us today are not familiar with Mothers in Business. I'll briefly say a couple of words about our organization. Mothers in Business is a Finland-based network that supports educated and career-oriented mothers in balancing work and family life. We aim to provide opportunities for skills development, networking, and career advancement. Currently, we have over 4,000 members and hundreds of volunteers around the country. Mothers in Business stand for genuinely inclusive and diverse work and life culture. Apart from other activities, we also are to integrate international mothers to Finnish working society. And we want to give them equal chances to balancing career and family. Yes, so let me introduce today's speakers then. Henrika Tonder is originally from Finland, but she lived for a couple of decades in France. She has a business background in international commerce and corporate communications. She carries a personal experience of burnout and depletion, which brought her to become a strategic self-leadership coach. Now she specializes in holistic human performance and emotional intelligence. She lives in Espoo for 7 years with her French husband, and she's a mother of 3 boys, aged 15, 13, and 10. Henrika is joined today by Ani Maria Manzur, originally from Peru. Ani is an MBA holder, mechanical engineer by degree, and currently works as a project manager. She has been living in Finland for 14 years with her Finnish husband and 2 boys, aged 15 and 9. And a couple of words about how our event will be structured today. It will be very easygoing. It's pretty much will be the conversation between Henrika and Ani. You can ask your questions in the chat, and me and Simba, we will be helping to our speakers to make sure that your questions be noted. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dana, and thank you for this presentation. So yes, let's dive into the topic of meditation and mindfulness. And also we wanted to say, please feel free to ask your questions all along, whether it's like you can type them in the chat box, and we will be answering them as we go. Yes, and so before we started, like maybe just a couple of words. So our goal today is to demystify meditation and mindfulness, and to make it easy and simple to start or to deepen an already existing meditation practice. We would want to share our personal experiences, maybe inspire you, give you some practical tools, and also share our motivations and our challenges and resistances that we've faced along our journey. And we'll share also some resources by the end of the hour, and also give some tips to meditating with kids and as a family. So hi, Ani.
Hi, Henrika. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you, Dana. Yes, so as Henrika mentioned, we're really happy to be here and help you, for those of you that are not meditating, help you get into this wonderful hobby or tool. And for those of you who are doing it, maybe give you some tips to deepen your meditation practice. And I think here would be good to know how many of you are already actually meditating or doing some mindful practice. So we will have a poll, and let's see what are, you know, how many of you are in each category.
Yes, so this is just to get a feeling of where you are at in your meditation journey or mindfulness journey. Oh, and I have this bar here, and that I can't move So as for, I can see the answers. So there's a big part of people who don't yet have 81% who are not yet. What was the question? I can't see the bar. Was it regularly, or Annie? Can you help me here? Because I can't see the screen.
Do you have a regular meditation practice?
Yes, thank you. So maybe some of you, 18%, already have regular meditation practice. And then 82% do not yet have a regular one. But it might be that there's sometimes, some of you are sometimes meditating already. Yes, so great. We could move on. I'm just having a little technical issue here. The poll screens, would it be possible to take the poll screens down? Annie, can you do that?
For me,
it's be taken down right now.
Okay, because they are open on my screen and I don't have a cursor to close it down. Well, let's just move on. And luckily I have an iPad, so I think we'll be fine. Sorry for the technical issue here. So, no, now I can't even move the cursor. Okay, so just I will have to take that. I'm sorry, I can't do anything here now. Simba, are you able to tell me how I could do it?
Try to click on the touchpad and then try to move with the arrows again.
Okay.
Now you move.
Okay. Yeah. Well, now we're on the next one. That worked. Thank you so much, Simba. Okay. So Annie, here we wanted to have a conversation. We wanted to share like these preconceived ideas one might have about meditation, or why to start meditating, or how it went, or and we wanted to share our own stories in a conversational form here, because we haven't always been meditating, and it hasn't always been glamorous. It still isn't. And so sometimes we wanted to show these pictures here as well. Like sometimes you want to meditate so that you don't punch someone in the face, and you're just doing that because you're like, hey, you know, I gotta find some peace and breathe here. So could you please share a little bit about your journey and story with meditation? How did you start, or why did you start, Annie?
Well, for me was I've always heard, you know, people meditating, and nowadays it's more and more that you hear everywhere, and there's so many apps and things about meditation. So I think I want to try everything. And of course, in meditation, you hear the benefits about more focus, more creativity. I'm a relaxed person, so that part wasn't so much for me, but still, it's never a bad idea to have a good tool, especially when having kids. I think I lose my cool. So it had also to do with that. So yeah, I decided, okay, let's give it a try. I was a little bit lost how to start because although I said that there's a lot of people around that meditate, I didn't have any like close friend I would know that meditates. No? Yeah. So it was a little bit like, where do I go? How do I start? There's too many apps. Which one is good? What will work? You know? So yeah, for me it was like in one of those, it jumped to me this M word from Mind Valley, and I thought, okay, this is a sign for me, and I will start with that one. And I think it was a really good choice. I enjoyed the meditation. To be honest, I started.
Can we just, yeah, maybe everybody doesn't know Mind Valley and M Word. So you're referring to an online program on a platform, like a learning platform about mindfulness, which is called Mind Valley. So you started with that.
Yes. Yeah. So that was for me the, you know, the way to start, and it was really good. I have to be honest, I didn't start and continue meditating. So I started, it was great, and maybe 2 months and a half, 3 months, I stopped. I forgot about it for 6, 8 months, And then I started again, and actually since then I've been constantly meditating. How about you? How did you start it? Why?
Yeah, well, I've been having a mindfulness practice for about a decade now, regular and a daily one. And I actually started because I am like a very sort of a sensitive person who sense a lot, and I have a personality who is like easily gets stressed or worried, and I've suffered from anxiety, and I've suffered from overwhelm, and I've suffered from it hasn't always been like easy to navigate in life, and especially then when I was the mother of 3 kids under the age of 4. I guess that was just like the environment that actually really just pushed me over the edge, in the sense of what I was doing before, and the practices of balance in everyday life and finding my well-being rituals, they just weren't enough, because that was way too much nervous and sensory stimuli for me. So I had this period of burning out or breaking down, or really just like being overly depleted and almost dysfunctional, and not feeling well. So I had to, at that moment, I had to really turn my focus inside, and I had to really start tuning into what I required. And I had to really, I was so bad at the time that I was sort of forced to slow down and to pay attention to what I was doing, because I wasn't able to do things in the regular, usual pace anymore. So it was sort of a forced thing that came into my life. But after that, I started noticing how much more clarity, or how much like clearer, or I started feeling after a while, after being present and being mindful and being aligned and walking mindfully and brushing my teeth mindfully and just moving around, speaking mindfully, paying attention to the thoughts I was having and the words I was saying. So that was basically my relationship to that. And then to mindfulness, and then meditation as a practice, really to regularly do it, sit down and have a quiet, more structured or formal meditation practice. I started maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and that was something that I was really resisting. And it's really funny, we talked when we were preparing this, we talked about it, and I remember I was like, I had so much resistance to that. I was thinking, I don't need to meditate, and I don't need to sit down. And at the same time, I was envious of people who were able to have a regular meditation practice, and I thought it was so cool. And I thought that I was so lame, and maybe to even hide up, now that I'm looking at it like from here, maybe just trying to convince myself that I don't need it, because I had so much resistance to it. So I came up with a story so that it wasn't that painful that I didn't do it. So it's funny, actually. But then when I started, I was also just as much proud of myself once I got into the practice. So yeah, for me, it's about 4 or 5 years now of regular practice. And that was my beginning with the resistance.
So I guess you can say you have seen clear benefits from your practice.
Yes, yes, I have seen clear benefits. First, it was the pride of actually committing to a habit that I had been resisting for so long. Then, of course, I quickly felt the spaciousness, or the I would call it a new space, or a sense of clarity inside on it, like a mental level, or also being able to somehow hear myself, or my inner voice, or my intuition better, and also just feeling like a calm, like a nervous calm moment where, especially being a mom of 3 boys, it's just very active all the time. So just having that moment to myself, and I also remember how it was important for me to set boundaries actually for my space, because I also tend to be someone who is easily over helping or over attending to other people's needs. And I remember when I started meditating, for example, sitting in a room and then somebody like a kid opened up the door. And I really had to sort of decide in that moment that I was going to stay here and I was going to keep on doing my, like being present with my meditation, and just signal very peacefully and very quietly that this wasn't the moment now to come in. Of course, if it was something like really, really urgent and with the kids, that would be different. But I also it was also showing something new to the people around me. And when we talked, I remember you, Annie, said that for you, on the contrary, it also had been more of being willing to let go and not necessarily like, can you talk more about that? Because it was funny, it was the opposite experiences we were having.
Yeah, for me, it was like if the kids would come or interrupt, I would be so angry. They destroy my practice.
Yeah.
So now this is ruined. It doesn't work. And of course, I was angry at them, at me, and everything. Now I've learned to let go. If they come, I might do like you. Like I just hear them. They now know I meditate. So if they see me with the eyes closed and like that, they will just go away. And I don't take that as a disruption to my meditation. I let it go and continue. Or then I might decide, even if it's not an emergency, but I might decide, okay, now I can stop and go with them for whatever reason. It doesn't matter if it's not important, but I don't feel like things are destroyed, but it's my decision and I can continue. If I want to do it later, I mean, meditate, I can do it later.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess in my case, what it taught me is to not stress about the meditation.
Yeah, like not make it so formal or serious or.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So what are the benefits you have felt, Annie?
Well, to be honest, one of the main reasons I wanted to do it is for focus and creativity, as I mentioned. And I'm still, I don't know if I'm very focused still because I get distracted easily. But then I like this letting go. And then I realized I think a little bit more before I say something or how I react. Because, okay, me being Latin, Arab, I have these explosive characters, so I can like go from 0 to 100 in a minute, in a second.
Yeah.
So now I think things a little bit more and yeah, slow down in that way. I think it has helped me.
Yeah.
So I'm still waiting for the other benefits.
Yeah. And also for me, I just wanted to share that it's decreased a lot the sense of worry. I tend to be like a big worrier about all kinds of stuff, like and also very attentive to, for example, physical sensations in my body, or worrying about if my husband would be on a work trip and I would be alone with the kids. I'm just like my brain just tends to think about everything so that I can think in beforehand and somehow find solutions, or what if that happened, what if that happened, what if that happened. So it has its advantages, clearly, but also it then tends up to accumulate and build up worry and anxiety. So I noticed like huge differences quite quickly, maybe even just in the matter of a couple of weeks. I really started feeling the difference when I was meditating. Not like suddenly it became like, woohoo, I don't have no more worries anymore. No, not like that. But it was almost like I started feeling the compound effect of meditating, so that when I even took just like 10 minutes, I don't know how you do that, but I started with 5 minutes every day, and I was proud that I did it. And then I started increasing the amount up till 15 or 20 minutes in the morning. But then I started noticing that when I was just like, as soon as I got into the practice, then all the previous like capital almost that I had collected from meditating, it just kicked in, and the moment really became quicker, something that was contributive. It didn't mean that I didn't have my thoughts running in and out during the meditation, but still after the meditation, I felt so much more grounded and clear and focused before going into the day or to the next thing just after that.
Yeah, what I can say is, even though I haven't noticed a big change in me, I do enjoy it, and it's something that gives me happiness, pleasure, you know. And I feel like I take my shower in the morning, I do my meditation. The days I don't do it, somehow I feel like something is missing. It's not like my day goes wrong or anything, but I feel like, oh, I didn't brush my teeth, kind of thing.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
So it's kind of cleaning your soul or your mind for what comes the next day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And what about were there any other challenges? You mentioned the challenge of letting go in the beginning, but also, as we know that here, like more than 80% of people who don't yet have a regular meditation practice, if you want to speak to those of you here, and maybe because I find it useful to share what other people were challenged by when I start something, and then what worked for them. So like I find both just as useful. Do you have any other challenges that you remember of?
Yes, of course. I mean, I think this is a very common one. It's not working, or is it working? And am I doing it right? I think that's the typical one. How do I know that I've now, reached nirvana with my meditation? So I think that's a very common one. And now I know that it doesn't matter. Just sitting is already good enough. Then the other thing is, like, for example, at the beginning, when I started, I had to go, well, in the house downstairs, be alone in the room. And, I lighted candles sometimes, or, create some environment. But then once I learned, I realized, like, in the mornings, I was lazy to get out of the bed. So I would just sit in the bed, even though my husband was still sleeping and maybe snoring. I could meditate and it was fine. So, but then now again, I realize I'm going again to the room alone, and I'm enjoying that again more. So it's just finding what works for you and the time of day. I mean, of course, it's recommended mostly do it in the morning, first thing in the morning, but it's not the only time and the only way. So, find your space.
Yeah, and that makes me think, I now remember also what we shared when preparing, because I remember telling you that for me, one of the challenges in the beginning was that then when I started doing it, I sort of wanted to hide and do it. Like I didn't want anyone to see me meditating, because that would be like, I don't know, I felt sort of ashamed, or at least I didn't want anyone to see. So I wanted like to make sure. I remember I like calculated, when does somebody or no one come here, or I didn't want my husband to see me meditate, which is really funny because he's like he's interested into meditation and mindfulness and growth and self-development as well. So it's not as like he would have been opposed to it or anything. But for me, somehow, I remember it was even almost hilarious to myself now to think how much I just wanted to not anyone to see me meditating. And then after a while also, it was nice to notice that started going away, that when the practice sort of became more of my own, and when that became a natural part of me, Then I remember when I went also, when I started to become more confident with that, then I went on the railway station or wherever, and I sat in the middle of the city, and I just started meditating, just because I wanted to sort of check in with myself and see, can I do this wherever? I just want to sit down, because after all, I'm not disturbing anyone. So then it almost became just like, it's something that can be done anywhere, but the beginning was quite the opposite of that. So I guess what we would just also want to share here is that the journey is super unique and individual for everybody, like who we are as a person, what kind of personality we have, where we are in our life, what age, what is our life situation, our context, the age of our kids. Are we, you know, do we want to, like, for example, I with my clients, it's interesting to see some people actually prefer first sending their kids off and first taking care of all of that, and then they prefer taking that moment and meditating before they transition into their work day, for example. Or on the other hand, I have clients who, again, they actually really prefer on putting their alarm earlier in the morning, getting up, first centering with their meditation, and then taking care of both the family and the work and all of it. So super different individual, nothing right or wrong. And basically what I would say as a key, what really helped and worked for me was start small, really small. And I know what works for me was, I wanted to make it a practice. So I wanted to make it regular. So I wanted to have it daily. And the only way I would go into doing it daily was like 5 minutes. So I just did it 5 minutes. And then once, after a while, it actually naturally started building up because it felt so good.
Yeah, I think, you know, for me at the beginning, I didn't have any problems with the time. Of course, that course I followed started small. But
yes, you had a structure also in which you were.
Yes, and it's some meditation practice, and there's different stages to the practice. So the way the course went was, at the beginning they teach you each of the parts, let's say, of the meditation, and then you end up putting them all together, kind of thing. No, so I didn't have a resistance to the length of the meditation, because I had no problem in that way sitting for, okay, of course not an hour, but 20 minutes I could have done it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you, that a shame of being seen, or because it was like, I don't want to say I meditate, because what if I don't like it and then I stop? It's one more thing I leave unfinished, kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, so I had that. And then to be honest, I haven't tried what you said about meditating in the train station or something like that, but I notice what I do in some situations where I feel like I'm starting to get overwhelmed, just the breathing exercises. And that's something I feel, okay, I mean, nobody notices anything special, but that you can do anytime, anywhere. And it really helps calm. So I think those are some good practices. And something, at least funny thing in my house that has happened, because this summer that just passed, I was meditating, of course, in the morning, but since we were in the summer cottage, I would go to the rocks in front of the sea and meditate. It was so pretty that, that it made me want to meditate there by the sun. But then when I was angry or something with the kids, with my husband would go, please go and meditate. So did you had any like funny mom moment like that with meditation?
Yeah, let's see also what Dana is maybe having a question for us here.
No, actually there was a question by Simba, and I wanted to read some answers from the chat.
Yeah.
So the question was, please share here in the chat, what is the main value of meditation for you? And people were answering, helps me being present in the moment, helps me with stress control. And one really nice answer, last autumn was really stressful and hectic. So in the beginning of the year, I decided to start to meditate daily. For me, it has been a tool for stress control. Then Yeah. In my personal experience, after I started meditating, half a year, my boss gave me a compliment that I stepped up. So it's somehow, yeah.
Great.
Mm.
Thank you for sharing your experience. He says, yes, and yes, also, please, we were just going to come to that. Please feel free to share your experiences, like why you started between amongst you who do meditate or have tried meditation. Why did you want to start meditating, or even if you haven't yet, why would you want to start meditating, or why does meditation interest you, or what do you see in it? So unfortunately I cannot see because my cursor isn't working, so I can't see the chat box, but maybe Ani and Dana,
Yes.
you could share some comments.
Of course, when they will come, I will raise the hand again.
Great. So yeah, so Ani, before we move to the next slide and the rest of the presentation, you asked me if I had any special mom moments. Well, yeah, I mean, I can see myself in that when people in the house say, hey, go meditate, or just go and center. I usually do that even before they notice, because they are so active with a house full of guys. But yeah, maybe it was just a thing of what I found really of value and important, even in my self-development, was that the benefit that came with it, that I had not seen coming, for me to practice in a very quiet, silent, subtle, peaceful way, keeping my boundaries and my space and my time, and sort of starting to mark after like a decade of just like small kids all over the place, and they just so it was time for me also in my motherhood or in my life as a woman to really start marking more clearly my space, and without necessarily having to word it out at that time. It was like more an energetic or a spatial thing. So I found that really as an unexpected value.
Yeah, and that's true. Many times we get these unexpected benefits.
Yeah.
Meditation. Yeah.
Should we move on?
Yes, please.
Cool. I hope I can. Yes.
And
so
let me check quickly if there are some answers, because here we are going to go on the reasons why meditate.
Yeah, and we wanted to, I mean, we've been talking about this already, like why meditate, and you have been sharing your motivations to meditate, but we just wanted to sort of lift up here different benefits of meditation that has been like experienced, scientifically proven. It's been already couple of like many decades that even science have been starting to show the benefits through different kinds of measurements and brain imagery and different kinds of ways of showing that, but also just like people reporting how they feel and seeing like meditation and mindfulness has gotten into businesses and companies, and so there is value in it as well. So we wanted to list and lift up here a couple of things, making the separation between at home and work, knowing that we're all just human beings wherever we are. So the benefits that you can see here at home, for example, being more present, having more empathy, building self-compassion, having better sleep, being less anxious, feeling that you have more self-control, better tolerance for pain, promoting kindness, and more emotional calm and stability. These, of course, also are valid at work. And at work, we wanted to maybe just also lift up the benefits in terms of focus and concentration, mental clarity that we already talked about as well. It helps also in developing emotional intelligence, and stress levels are reduced, and also creativity in terms of better hearing your voice or better being connected with your creative self. and also enhances self-awareness. And as we know, self-awareness helps with everything. So here are just a couple of things we wanted to lift up. And also, because it also helps to get ready to be ready when times get tough. So just as somebody lifted up in the comments that now when the spring was really challenging for many of us, and mostly all of us, I think, with the pandemic and the COVID context going on, having a practice that you are committed to no matter what the weather outside or inside, that you're committed to that practice, it actually builds up that muscle of spaciousness, of peace, of calm, of having more distance to your thoughts and your emotions, and giving you therefore more choice even when the situation is difficult. So I also now really experience this of even though, like before, I might have gone to meditation because I was feeling crappy or it was challenging or hard, and then it helped me. But now I know that the more I do it, the more I'm ready to and able to face complicated, challenging, difficult things. So that's also motivating. And here we just wanted to show you that actually as when we speak about stress or our perception of different situations, there's actually no one that can bring peace to ourselves than ourselves, no one else. And for this, mindfulness and meditation is really something, a practice of value, where actually you're the only one who can bring that sensation for yourself. So yes, we wanted to just because we speak about meditation and mindfulness back and forth here, and just to make the distinction here briefly, what do we mean by meditation? It's a practice, and through the practice of meditation, it's possible to develop different qualities, including mindfulness. And when we speak about mindfulness, it's a type of a meditation, and can be described also as almost like as a way of being and a way of living that can be practiced formally or informally. But the most important thing that on this slide is actually the fact that it is a practice, and the more you practice, the better you get, just like with anything. And with better, meaning the more you will start, it's not like you're trying to achieve anything, but the how could we say that, Ani? The more pervasive or the more active, maybe the benefits that you will feel in your life, that can be different. So committing to that practice actually brings that leverage and compounds the effect of doing it and prepares you. So that's what we wanted to share here. Do you want to say something about this, Ani?
Yeah, actually, something I want to comment about this, about having this beginner's mind, is that I don't believe you ever get to be an expert meditator. You know, you're not the master meditator, and somebody who starts is, you know, if talking about karate, I would be a black belt and he would be a white belt. There's not such a thing. And you can have days where you meditate lighter, like you don't go so deep, and days that you can go deeper. And it doesn't also matter about the time. It's, you know, the day, the practice. And this having a beginner's mind, for example, in my case, when speaking with Henrika, she mentioned that she started meditating with this Headspace app. So because I was doing some research and checking different apps, so there they have this beginner's meditation practice for 10 days. And actually I've been doing it now. I'm in the day 9 of it. And it's really, really nice to go in a way back to basics. And it's a nice practice to start again in a different way. And because there's no one practice that it's good. So you can try different things along the way.
So what are the benefits you're noticing now? Thank you for sharing that, Annie. And now that you like started that and also the headspace, which you weren't familiar with before, what are you noticing in your meditation practice?
Well, I mean, of course, before that one, I've done a couple of different ones. So this is one more style. But I like because it's different. It brings me to a, let's say, a different view, or even though at the end is the same thing, and everybody tells you to let the thoughts go, but I think, I don't know, I'm enjoying going through the beginning process again, and listening with a different and very open mind, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a nice experience.
Dana,
There's a
you have a question. Yes. I see your
not a question, but I will just read a few answers which came to your question. Yeah, you were asking, why do you meditate, or why are you interested in starting meditation? And some answers came, so I think I'll read through them now.
Yeah.
Oops, sorry. To clear my thoughts and to concentrate in life, one answer. Another one, I think I can relate to it also. Working at home, multitasking all the time, I feel I don't recover well, so it helps to rest. And then to helping to calm down, concentrate, and help me to deal with stress. So I think
yeah, and that's thank you for sharing those. And also that's a great thing about the recovery, the mental recovery, because sometimes people use, for example, physical exercise as a mental recovery, which is great, but also in like there's always like, especially if you have a sensitive nervous system, or if you're overloaded, then even the physical activity will add again some stress on your nervous system. So meditation for that is like, there's no actual harm or no actual extra load on your nervous system. So that's also why it's an interesting practice. And here we wanted to sort of show that, like, mindfulness is the ability to be fully present and aware of the current moment without judging your experience or yourself. So here is mindfulness in a meditation context where you know, you go easily into the thing of thinking, as you just mentioned, Annie, you know, without my mind that's running around in circles, it would be perfect, or this would be excellent. So that there isn't actually anything to achieve, or there isn't anything to become, or it's just doing the practice and being present. And that's what mindfulness also is really about. It's just being, accepting and embracing the present moment as it is, without wanting it to be anything different, and without judging the experience, yourself, or the other part. And then meditation. These are some captures from Headspace application that we were talking about. I started meditating with the Headspace application. And here, for example, you see meditation is less about knowing what to do and more about knowing what not to do. So this famous letting go and being able to make a triage between thoughts that are useful and thoughts that you can just let go of. Or the heart of meditation is taking ourselves a little less seriously. That's a good reminder, because as with anything that we start doing on a very like ritual practice habit, I have to do every day, I should do this, or otherwise, you know, when we become too serious about anything, then again, it becomes something we get the opportunity to learn to let go of and become a little bit less attached to the seriousness of it. So meditation brings that possibility, but it also brings it might bring the challenge of just that with it. And then
I think this last one
perfectly
perfectly describes what we've been talking about ourselves. like we can't control everything that happens, but we can change our experience of those things. And I think this is a very important one, because it makes you, like, you learn to see things in a different way, and accept that you cannot control the world.
Yeah.
But you realize that maybe I can change myself and how I perceive those things, and it helps you control the stress or how you react to those things.
Yeah, it gives you more distance, and it allows you to start experiencing and understanding and integrating the fact that you are not your thoughts, you are not your emotions, you are not everything that's going on and that you feel that you're experiencing, and to create more space. That's why I like the head space, because it literally gives you more space in your head. So we also wanted to bring up a couple of different kind of practices that you can do in terms of mindfulness practices, and you can use them as meditations as well. And Dana, do you have comments or questions?
One question comes from Elena. Do you combine, have you tried combining a breathing techniques with your meditation, like box breathing or the Wim Hof method, etc.?
Yeah, thanks. This is a great moment for that question, because we just wanted to bring up some different ways of meditating. So one of the examples, for example, as the question of Elena, a few minutes attention to your breathing. And that can be just, so either something like Elena just brought up, you can do like the box meditation, where it's like 4 breaths in, you keep it for 4 breaths, you breathe out 4 breaths, and then you keep your breath for 4, and then you go in again. So for example, that, or then there's the 4-7-8. There are different kinds of breathing meditations where you can just pay mindfully attention to your breath. And for example, the 4-4-4-4 meditation is said to really calm down the nervous system, and if you're in a stress, to do that. Ani, for example, said she doesn't like that one at all, because she needs to breathe. So she doesn't like the, was it that? You said you don't like that at all.
I cannot be, because in the last point, you exhale and you are without air inside for 4, and then you go. So that's really hard for me. So I do a similar one that is 5-5-5. So breathe for 5, keep for 5, exhale for 5, but then again breathe.
Yeah. So you don't have the
without their part.
An in breath. Yeah. So for example, either that kind of breathing exercises, or then just paying mindfully attention to your breath. It can be as simple as placing your hand on your belly, and placing your hand on your chest, and just closing your eyes when you work, and just close your eyes and take deep breaths, like and you can exhale through your mouth. You can take an inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And you can just do that 3 times, for example, and that already creates a calm and a groundedness in the moment. So whether it is paying attention to, for example, like counting to 10, and then just for example, for 5 minutes, you count your breaths up to 10, and then you start all over again from 1 when you come to 10, and then you do that all over again, just paying attention to your breath, whatever way it is, whether you add your hands, or whether you count the breath, or whether you just feel the breath through your nostrils, or you do these different kinds of counting your breaths. All of that is a way to do that. And then another one we added here is a few minutes attention to your body or physical sensations. Same thing, we have a lot of sensory input that come through our eyes. So just by like putting your feet on the floor and feeling your feet on the floor, like actually feeling the floor, or feeling your socks in your feet, or feeling your clothes on your skin, or whatever, the temperature in the room, or if you're outside, the wind on your skin, or just like closing your eyes and then allowing your body to just be more in tune with your inner organs in your body maybe, or at least the surfaces you have around you, or doing a body scan from the top down, setting a timer for 5 minutes. Or if you're really new to this, then feel free to use the guided meditations, which are amazing. You don't have to think about anything. You just follow, you press on a button and you let that go. But there are different ways of doing also these body connections. Or then maybe, Ani, you can speak a little bit about the mindful activities. I already mentioned, for example, when you wash your teeth, or when you do the dishes, you can be mindful there when you do that.
Yeah, actually, I mean, you can do it whenever. When walking, you can walk mindfully. You know, especially if you like walking in nature, in the woods, just pay attention to what surrounds you. That's being mindful of the moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And also then you can have guided mindfulness meditations, as we've been talking, and we'll give you some resources by the end of this presentation, where, for example, you use either here, we put some examples like leaves on the stream, eye of the hurricane, the wheel of the awareness. You can find, for example, these meditation on positivepsychology.com, or even just typing them in the Google. They're quite well-known meditations. Or then you have these different apps that we give you a couple of examples that you can use. And those are maybe the easiest one yet to start. Like, well, anyone can take 3 mindful breaths, closing their eyes. But then if you want to initiate a meditation practice, at least I thought they were super helpful, because I just needed to make sure I show up and I have the 5 or 10 or 15 minutes, whatever. I sit down and then I just follow the instructions of the guided meditation. So those are different kinds of, a couple of examples what you can do. And then we wanted to show you this one, just to remind that meditation and mindfulness, as they are very intimate and inside practices, they're like the inside job. Nobody sees what you're doing. Nobody, you don't really look different, even though you inside might feel really different, or you might possibly feel like you've changed, or and maybe not. But if that's the case, then you might get frustrated because other people around you don't see the change. But it was just like a little gentle reminder of be patient with that, because it is an inside job. So now I have a cursor. Wait. So here. So I see we're running out of time, or not out of time, but the time is ticking forward. So here we wanted to, maybe we have to accelerate a little bit, but here we wanted to lift up some excuses or some doubts or some questions that people usually have in the beginning, before starting meditating, or right in the beginning of starting a practice, where you just wonder, like, does it even work? I don't see any difference. Or one of the funniest that I have used myself, my husband's been using, my clients, this is funny, because how often do I have the time? Like, I don't actually have the time, and I actually can't do that. That is so funny, how you think that you don't have the time to do something for 5 minutes out of your whole day that will actually bring you a lot of value. So Ani, do you want to say something, speak to one of these doubts
just
or
that
excuses?
I think I've gone through almost all, and many people do, but I would say let's move forward.
Yeah, and if you
running.
have any questions about these, like, does this even work? Do I have the time? Am I doing it wrong? How long until it works? Is my mind too busy? Shouldn't this be relaxing? Basically, the answer to all of this is, well, there's nothing right or wrong. How long until it works? Well, depends on how you want to decide what works means. having no expectations might still be the most cost-effective and value-bringing income angle to this, because some of the effects you will see, some not. Shouldn't this be relaxing? Maybe before, just speaking to that, sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't, because sometimes when you sit down and if your mind is really, your thoughts are running around, you might at first just really be hearing or seeing that even more because you slow down. Because sometimes we tend to start overdoing stuff so that we won't hear our thoughts. And sometimes then when we sit down, it's like, whoa, there's a whole hurricane and a chaos going on, and we just only become aware of that at a time. So sometimes it isn't relaxing and sometimes it is. Basically no right or wrong. So so that's it. Like, there's no expectations is still the best thing, and an open mind when you start get into this practice and start it is what we recommend. And then just quickly, some tips of how to help you starting is to embed it in your daily routine. Doing it maybe same time every day if that's easier for you, but that's also depending on everybody's like life situations. Integrate it into activities. As we said, maybe when you brush your teeth, maybe when you walk, maybe when you walk down the stairs, just adding something in your practice. Scheduling it and setting a reminder is helpful in the beginning to keep track on that. Also experimenting then with timing. If the timing, like I said, some people want to start with that in the morning, some people want to get their families and lives away, like not lives away, but families and people away, and then do it. Some people might want to start in the evening or in the middle of the day. There's no right or wrong, so experiment with that. And then you can tie into another activity. Or for example, when you get home, you do the meditation, or every time you go into your car, you take a couple of deep breaths, or before, when you sit before in front of your office desk, you take a couple of deep breaths or something. Like, you can tie it into something and then start small, like whether it's 5 minutes or whether it's 10-second off, taking 3 deep breaths. Just the most important is to start somewhere, and usually it'll bring you much further than you think. I accelerated here, Annie. Is there something you want to add?
No. That's good, I think.
Great. So we wanted to say still a couple of words about meditating with kids. So please, Annie.
Yes, so I'll just share my experience. My son, who is now 10, so when he was 9 last year, I think, because I was meditating, he wanted to try. No, he saw me sitting there, so he asked me to do it. So I've never, it's not like I'm an expert, so I just went and Googled some things, and I found first a really nice meditation that we did, but then I found this game that we just sit, close our eyes, and try to hear everything that happens around us. Just listen, pay attention to the noises around us, and then we stop. We listen for a minute or two, something like that, and then we tell all the things that we heard. So it's a fun game for him, and he tries to win to hear more things than I do. But at that point, he is really calm and listening and tuning with what surrounds him. So it's a great exercise. Then there's also fun breathing exercises with kids and filling your stomach. So the same things as for grown-ups, but just made in a way fun for them.
Yeah.
So that's really good. And then, even though it's not meditation, but a really nice practice I actually do every night with my son is a gratitude, because in a way that also helps him think about his day, and then see the positive, the good things, the value what he has.
Yeah.
So I think that's a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
Do you have any practice like that with your kids?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes we do these things that you say, paying attention and all of that. So, and also that gratitude. I find that important because it also fosters your, like, it directs your mind already the next day to somehow include the idea of, oh, what am I grateful for? So I find that very helpful, whether it's in the evening or then including it even in everything you do. Like, what am I grateful for now? When you start going into an automatically negative mode or complaining about something that isn't worth complaining for, as we humans sometimes do. So yes.
Yes.
Thanks for that. And then we just wanted to share some resources here. So I started with Headspace. I still use Headspace. I find it very useful because it has themes of meditations. And Annie started with the Mind Valley M word. I also did that. It's a great one, but we put different price, like some of them are free, like Headspace have 10 like a starter kit, which is free. And then, you know, different kind of resources, calm insight timers. So maybe you can take a picture of this slide if you're interested, and then see what works for you. So we won't stay later on this, but I hope you got a picture of it, and we'll be sharing this presentation on the Facebook or sending it to you as well. But here's a collection of something we wanted to share. And then also the positivepsychology.com. You can find these meditations there or on YouTube, just putting them in Google. And then we wanted to remind before we end, all things are difficult before they're easy, to remember to be patient with yourself and start small. And that brings us to the last thing we wanted to tell you before we let you go. So we are meeting next time for a part 2 in end February 23rd at 5 o'clock. And we wanted to launch you a 30-day challenge to start a meditation practice. So today we had 82 or 83% of people who did not yet have a regular meditation practice. So I would be very curious, and we would be curious with Annie to see if we all get back in a month. And for those who are willing to start a meditation practice or deepen or change, do something different, to do that for 30 days. And then come back after a month, and then come and share your experiences, how it was, what was difficult, what are you proud of, what could have, you know, what surprised you, what did you learn about yourself. So that'll be more like a mingly kind of online event then, where we have Q&As, and we might do breakout rooms, or we might just open up the mics and share all together, depending on how many we are. But we wanted to invite you to this. So for the ones of you who are up for this challenge, we're inviting you to set yourself a challenge for every day meditating, even like something, and then share your experience with us the 23rd of February. Annie, do you have anything else to say? I just wanted to say thank you on our behalf. Do you have anything else? Thank you for sharing your experience.
There was very nice a comment from Simba, practice something to try with the kids. So I will just read it. One nice thing is to also ask a child to place a stuffed animal on the belly and then lie down and ask them to watch how their stuffed animal moves up and down. This calms them down and also helps to breathe correctly.
Yeah,
this is so fun.
Thank you, Simba.
Nice. And in the chat also some people are already saying that they will join the challenge. So nice. Nice
great.
to hear that.
Yes.
Great. And hopefully you will enjoy it.
Yes, that's good. So if you're willing to take on the challenge and join us after a month, please say yes in the comments, and as a sign of a commitment and engagement. And I'm sorry we went 5 minutes over. So so thank you for us. Thank you, Ani, and Dana still has some infos about events to come in February.
I think since we run out of time, I would recommend everyone just to take a screenshot and take a look at join us at the events later in February. But I hope that all of you or most of you could join us on 22nd of February at the second part of this event, where we'll discuss how the challenge went. Thank you so much, Henrika and Ani. It was amazing. I hope everyone here also liked the event and consider it useful. For those who don't know where to find us, you can also see all our social media links on the screen right now. Thank you very much. And yes, have a nice evening.
Thank you,
Thank
Dana.
you.
Thank you, Henrika, and thank you, Simba.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.